We are in Derech Hashem, in the first chelik, in the first part of the book. We're in chapter 5. I sort of gave you a little diagram of the beginning when he talks about the different categories, but that is not the main part of chapter 5. The main part is something that I would like to do outside the text. What that means is that I'm going to explain to you without looking at the words and reading as we've done in the past, because a complex and complicated idea that is not necessarily intuitive. Okay? Do you know what intuitive means? What's intuitive, Brandon? Since you're first, I will put you on the spot. First day, you gotta. What's intuitive? What?
Comes naturally.
Right, something that comes natural. Like the way that you see it is like this, you know? So something when it's counterintuitive, it means that we don't really feel it this way. We don't really experience it this way. But in reality, it is. So this is the idea. So says the Ramchal in the first parak, he gives us a taxonomy. He divides all the things that exist in the universe into categories, or as I talked about, boxes. And then he gets into the heart of the matter. And he says the following. Really, the whole purpose of the book is to explain that there is a connection between the human being. Raise your hand if you're a human being. Okay, good. It's very important. One didn't. So either you're not participating or you're not really sure if you're a human being.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel.
You feel what? Like a penguin?
I do like penguins.
I do too.
They taste good.
What? No, they're not kosher. Penguins are not kosher. They're cute, but not kosher. But they stink.
Yeah, they do.
They are terrible. I was where we live. What?
Worse than turkey?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Remember, because they waterfowl, and water, you know, takes care of the smell. You can't smell, so and they don't have a sense of smell. They don't need it. So, and they eat fish. Did I say more? So they really stink. So, they're not cute and cuddly as much as people think they are. They stink.
Had them before.
What?
Petted?
Well, of course. You never petted a penguin?
Never seen one.
What?
What?
Yeah.
All right, listen, we're a field trip. We'll talk to Rabbi Geffen, and we will go to the biblical zoo to see penguins. They have penguins.
At the biblical zoo?
Yeah. So the purpose that he started with the book is to explain to us the connection, the interconnectedness between the created and the creator. There is a connection between the creator and the created. How does this interconnectedness works? There are two ways. One is from the top to the bottom. That's one way of one connection is from the top to the bottom, and the other connection goes from the bottom up. And the two connections are different. Yet the two paths are interconnected, and they affect one another. What? No. They're like this, but they affect one another. Okay?
You won't create a fire that way.
No? You will just hurt yourself.
I'm done with it.
And he says the following. From top down is not dependent on human free will. Okay? So the forces that run the universe, this dimension, all dimensions, are independent of human free will. they are dependent on God. And whatever His will desires, or however His wisdom or infinite wisdom directs the flow, that's how it works. Okay? That goes from the creator to the created. Okay? It is something that is necessary according to divine providence to move creation as a whole towards what we call tikkun, right? The repair and the perfection of the universe and all its dimensions. Okay? So there is like a Google Maps, right? With, that the whole system is moving along and plugging away, stopping wherever it needs to, and moving and so on. So that's from the top down. Now, there is another path which is completely based on human free will. Completely based from human free will. So, based on our decisions and actions, what we decide and what we do, doing also includes speech, right? And there are 4 areas that we have to pay attention to, which is our thoughts, emotions, actions, and speech. Those 4. Your thoughts affect the universe. So all actions, thoughts, speech, and so on affect the flow from the bottom up. So from the top down, the connection between God and the creation is independent of human free will. And from the bottom up, says the Ramchal, it's only directed by human free will. And yet those two are connected and influence one another. They're not completely separate.
So does that mean,
So I'll explain to you how that works. Yes?
does that mean that, like, for the one that goes from the bottom up with free will, does that mean that we don't have like a small amount of, we only have like a small amount of free will, or is it like?
You have free will. Your free will is not limited.
I'm just.
Remember, free will doesn't mean that you get to decide what your choices are. Free will says that you have the ability to choose among a set of choices. Those choices you may not have control over, but once you have choice A, B, C, D, or E, right? Then you make whatever choice you want. But if you want to choose something over there, you might not be able to choose that, because the hashgacha, the way that divine providence works from the top down, is to give you only these choices. But if you choose door number 1, right, A, then you're going to lead the universe to go in a different path. If you choose B, you go this way. If you choose C, this way. That's up to you. But your decision of A is going to affect the one the flow that is coming this way. And vice versa. The way that the universe is moving forward in terms of its redemption, perfection, completion, choose the proper English term for it, is also affecting the choices that you have. Right? In certain biblical periods, there were certain choices that human beings made, such as worshiping idols. Today, right, Chazal says that there's no more idolatry. There's no more really idolatry in the same way that. Why? Because the universe, the whole existence, divine providence said, we're moving on. So what was our issue that we have to really, really worry about?
Atheism.
Atheism? It's not a serious intellectual position. It's not.
Worshiping Hashem, like Christianity.
Arias. Our greatest challenge is to watch our eyes and not to look at things that we're not supposed to, and not get involved with relationships that we shouldn't. That's really the problem. Look around the world. What is the biggest issue? Sexual harassment, date rape, date drugs, all these things that are just unbelievable. And it's only getting worse. I can't, on camera, I could, if we didn't have the camera, I would tell you what I'm reading in, on the internet, on regular news sites.
You can cut it out.
No, I don't want to give you ideas. But crazy things that people are doing that I just can't believe that somebody would do such a thing. So the choices that we have in front of us are governed also by the top down, but our reaction, the choices that we make, affect what is going to come in the future. So they're interdependent. They affect one another.
But if there's already a set path of where the future is supposed to go, and you affect that.
But you could slow it down, or you can speed it up.
You choose the route.
Or choose the route.
You might go on a detour, but eventually it's...
Right? We say, for example, just to give you an example, right? We say that the Mashiach has to come by 6,000. Does that mean that he can't come now? Can he come now, Yishai? Can he? Then why doesn't he?
Because it's not time.
No, because we're not making the right choices. That's all.
It's not the right time.
Make the right choices, then it'll be here. That is the top down and up and down, right? From here to there, from top down, down to top. They're interdependent and they affect one another. And it's up to us. Make a choice.
It can't come now.
That depends on you. Depends on you. When somebody says, why don't the Jews build a temple, why don't we? Because we're not making the right choices. So let's go blow it up. That's not the right choice. That's not what's going to bring. There's a different way to bring it. It's not through war. It's through mitzvahs. It's through moral perfection. This is what we talked about in the previous chapter. Becoming a better person. Becoming a more spiritual person. A person that's connected to the real purpose of your existence. The real challenge for each one of us is to figure out, why are we here? Are you just here to eat, drink, and be merry? Or somebody says, what?
I was worried there for a second.
No, I mean, is that it? If that's it, then, okay, I guess. Sad. We have so much more to give. There's so much more ability when we talk about seeking pleasure. In Mesilat Yesharim, there in the beginning, it talks about that really we should be seeking pleasure. But we should seek ultimate pleasure.
The right kind of pleasure.
Ultimate pleasure.
Connection to the mind.
Yes, that the connection to God is a spiritual that doesn't end. Physical, like you eat, let's say you're really hungry, and you get the best steak. You name whatever, the best steak you can, obviously glad kosher, but grilled to perfection, with extra, I don't care, and excellent, those big steak fries, with just the right amount of aioli, this is just the best thing, and you eat it. And they say it's all you can eat, so you eat one steak and another steak. But the rule is that whenever you're done, you got to eat one more. How are you going to feel at the end of that meal? You're going to have, it's enough. That is all physical pleasures. Once that pleasure is filled, you're done. You're ready to go.
So you need it again.
Yeah. Spiritual pleasure, it's not enough. You never feel like it's, like if you learn and you connect to a Gemara or to a Shir, and you really got an idea that you're thinking about, and you have a really good clarity of what it is, and you get all excited, you don't feel after that like, oh, I gotta take a shower. You don't. You don't feel like I have to puke. You don't.
Okay, what are some ways to attain spiritual pleasure? Learning Gemara?
I'm giving examples. There are many different ways. There are many different ways. But first you have to recognize what is spirituality and what isn't. What is fake spirituality that is really based on the senses and what isn't. And then you have to experience what?
You can't experience a spiritual pleasure unless you know what a spiritual pleasure is.
No, you can, but you might not know what you've experienced. So, was that it? There's some people who have an experience and they think that was like, oh my God, like I felt God. It's like, no, it's a whoopee cushion. Now get off.
Right.
I saw a sign. Somebody sent it to me, so I don't know if it's photoshopped. You tell me, Brandon. But it said, screaming, oh God, Sunday morning while in bed does not mean that you have a connection to God. And I thought, you know what? That is actually a very interesting idea.
Because Sunday's not Shabbat.
I missed the point. Good. You're right. And we continue. So, we have really two types of movements or motions in our universe. The motion that is coming from God into the created world and that is affecting us. And we have what we do together. That is what, based on our actions that we do, we are affecting, there's a movement going up. Is that clear for everybody? So that is a very important principle in Judaism that is the basis for what is termed in Judaism Kabbalah. Kabbalah is really interested in the relationship between the creator and the created. And is interested to understand it both in its mechanics, right? How does it actually work? And the implications of the mechanics with regard to the human being.
I'm sorry, could you just repeat the mechanics again about
Yes.
going down and coming down?
So you got lucky. So now I'm going to tell you from the beginning. So the Ramchal here in Derech Hashem in chapter 5, part 1, chapter 5, he explains to us probably the most important concept in Judaism. It's a very, very important concept. That there are two types of connections between God and the universe. Whatever, all the dimensions of the universe. There is a motion or connection that it goes from him downward, and that motion is independent of anything. It is whatever God wants. It's coming from the top down. So if he wants, to have, let's say, I don't know, let's just look at it colors, like green light coming, then we're going to get only green light. If he wants red light, we get red light. If he wants white light, we only get white. Whatever he wants, whatever it is, that's what's coming down. Get it? Then there is a movement coming from the bottom up, which is the motion coming from the bottom up that is only dependent on human free will. It is dependent on what we think, what we feel, what we say, and what we do. Those are the two types of motions there are in the universe with regard to the relationship of God and human beings. Okay?
The first one is God's will, and the second one is
Coming down, and down from up is human will. So usually we talk about hashgacha, right? There's hashgacha, there's God's providence from the top down. And then we have our reaction to that. And then it's sort of like a counter. But it doesn't have to be counter. So based on our thoughts, our emotions, our speech, and our actions, we affect the motion going upwards. Okay? Now those two motions, they're not two pipes that don't have any connection to one another. They're mutually dependent. They're mutually dependent. So that what comes down gives us the choices that we have to make our decisions. We make our decisions, which is we send it up, and therefore what comes down next is going to be based on what we decided. Get it? So it gives us enormous, according to, this is the Nefesh HaChaim, but enormous amount of power in the universe from the decisions that we make. Decisions. I didn't say actions, because the decision could be here, could be an emotion, could be a word.
So you can make a decision in your mind and then take the opposite action, can't you?
Yes. For example, there's a very famous example that is brought down in the Torah, and it's a Gemara that Orach Chaim talks about this also. Here's a situation. There was a woman. She was married to a lovely guy, and she decided to take an oath. Right? She was going to take an oath. She swore that she was going to become a Nazir. A Nazir is a person that takes on certain restrictions for a certain amount of time. And those restrictions are usually three: not to cut the hair, not to drink any products of alcohol or grapes, and not touching the dead. Okay? She took an oath to be a Nazir. Now, the Torah tells us if a husband hears his wife taking an oath, and he decides that he doesn't want her to take the oath, he can essentially cancel her oath, as if the oath never happened. Okay? Make sense? Okay, you understand the principle? Not the why. The why is much more interesting. But I don't want to talk about the why, I just want you to understand the case. So she wants to take an oath. She takes the oath to become a Nazir, which means she can't do three things: drink wine, touch the dead, and get haircuts. Her husband hears her and says to himself, he doesn't have to tell her. He says, no oath. No oath. She then says, I want to sin and drink wine. She gets a bottle of wine, uncorks the wine, takes it and says, I'm sinning. Did she sin? Did she sin? Moshe?
No.
No. No. No. Michael? Yes. Ooh, somebody said yes. All right, let's see with that. What do you think? No.
Yeah.
Yes? Yes? Depends. Depends are on old people's underwear. Right? Take a position. Don't sit on the fence.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Doesn't that mean depends? Yishai, jump in. Come on. The water's nice.
I'm jumping in by saying I don't really know. I'd like to talk about it. I like that there are people saying that yes. I was initially feeling no, but maybe it depends because if she's saying I'm sinning, regardless of what she's doing it with the intention to hurt whatever her spiritual side or something.
Yeah.
That has some kind of effect.
She's thinking that she's sinning. But God said the rule is if the husband says no oath, there is no oath. There is none. I don't know, the people who are saying that she's sinning, I don't understand what you're going to say. Right? Because it sounds like it's no sin. Can she drink wine? Yes. But then your side is going to say, but she doesn't know she can drink wine. She's not drinking wine because she wants to drink wine. She's drinking wine because what?
Because she wants to sin.
She wants to sin. If she wants to sin, then how can you say she's not sinning?
There's implications to her actions.
So the Torah says that the Torah requires her to seek atonement. She has to repent for what she has done. listen to this. She has to repent. She has to say she's sorry for sinning. Now you say, but what is the sin? She didn't do anything wrong.
The sin is the thought that she wants.
So let's imagine, I'll give you another case. There's a guy, and he says to his friends, hey, I want to go, let's go out and eat. And they're like, okay, and he drives, and he pulls into like, I don't know, McDonald's. And he says, I want a McRib sandwich. And they're like, dude, you don't eat pig, you know, you're from Jew. He says, I don't care, I want to eat pig. And I'm ordering, McRib sandwich. So, you being the good guy, you go up in the back and say, listen, do me a favor, please don't feed him this. Here, I made this hamburger at home. It's glad kosher, just serve it to him in the box. He won't know the difference. He's like, he never had this. He'll think, and he grabs it, he's like, yeah, watch. And he's got this big grin. I ate pig. Did he eat pig? Did he sin?
Yes.
Physically, yes.
Wait a minute, what are you talking about? What, metaphysics now?
His intention.
Metaphysics, you see here Moshe's throwing metaphysics at me?
His intention was to sin.
Did he sin?
No.
Shouldn't you get judged?
He sinned in it.
I'll give you the example. Why am I bringing this up?
You aim to shoot at somebody and kill them and they duck. It's like the same type of thing. You're intending to kill them, but they just got out of the way. Are you going to not be accused murderer for that?
Oh, very good. So wait a second. The brothers of Joseph.
Attempted murder.
The brothers of Joseph, what did they do when they sold him to slavery? Right? What did they were hoping for?
Kill him.
To get rid of him. What does Joseph say to them? You thought to do evil. It turned out to be good. And you're okay. And the Orach Chaim there says, what is it like? What's the parable? Of a guy who wanted to give his friend poison. Instead, he gave him a glass of wine. He's not chayav b'dinei shamayim. What? What? You want to give another Jew poison, but mistakenly you gave him, what's your favorite beer? What? Okay. So you give him that and he drinks and you're like waiting for him to die. You're like, how you doing? You okay? And the guy is not dead. Are you chayav b'dinei shamayim? Or Chaim says no. Why the woman? Why does the woman have to seek atonement? And the guy that's eating the McRib sandwich, or this glad kosher sandwich, brought down from, I don't know, kosher McRib.
Doesn't need to.
No, he does. The Gemara says that he does need kapara. Yeah, definitely.
Both of them.
Both of them. So why in the brothers, they don't have to? What's the difference? There's a difference. This is very important. If you can get one thing out of this and take it with you, this is it.
Which cases are we comparing?
The case of a woman who was drinking the wine when they took an oath, or person wanted to eat chazir and didn't.
But they're both.
Wait, both of those are cases where they need atonement, whereas the brothers, they don't need. They meant to harm him, they didn't. So the question is, what's the difference? Some say the difference is, when it comes to mitzvahs, commandments between man and his fellow human beings, we are only judged according to the outcome.
Man to man, you're judged by the outcome?
By the outcome. But between God and us, we are judged according to the intent and the action. It's not only the thought. If she just thought to sin, if a person just sits in his room and thinks sinning, I'm going to sin today, I'm going to sin today, I'm going to sin today. Does he get punished for that? No. But if he's thinking of sinning and doing a maise, he's doing an action that expresses that sin, even though it's not a sin, he has to seek atonement. So you see from there that our thoughts and actions and emotions and our speech affect the connection and the relationship between God and the created universe. Yeah, Michael.
But what if it's the opposite? You're trying to do a mitzvah, but your mitzvah ends up hurting somebody by accident. I don't know, you...
So I'll give you a case that you're not hurting. But let's say a guy walks down the street and loses his wallet. Okay? Somebody ruffles like a cat, ruffles through the wallet, right? Ruffles through the wallet, the money falls off. Somebody finds the wallet and brings you your wallet. Now your money is not in the wallet, okay? And the beggar got your money. The Gemara says that you get reward for that. Did you intend to give him the money? No. But the Gemara says you get a reward for it. You get a schar. Why? Because we see that with regard to human beings, you're judged based on the outcome. The outcome of losing your wallet was what?
That somebody else got rewarded for it.
Somebody got money.
That's not my question. My question
No, I'm giving you that case. We're doing it in steps. If you wanted to do a mitzvah, like shaking the lulav, and as you were shaking it, you poked somebody in the eye, right? And now he's like, my eye, right? So you're asking, so now I tried to do a mitzvah. There are two parts. Did you fulfill your mitzvah? Did you shake the lulav? Yeah, I shook the lulav. What happened to this person? Okay, you heard. Was it your negligence? If you were negligible because you didn't pay attention and you were like, doing this like the ninja, like my kids, then you pay. There's another case, I'll just mention it and maybe we can talk about it on Monday, if you remind me. There's a case of a father who says to his son, go up to that tree and get me the eggs of a bird. It's a mitzvah. And he goes up on the ladder and the ladder breaks and he dies. And everybody says, how could he die? He was performing a mitzvah. So that we could talk about, because I think that is much closer to what you want to talk about. We'll continue, God willing, on Monday.